us go to Fofe. Greetings. Is she there?
Where else would I be?
Okay.
Isn't this the best place to be at this point? Whether to use the Clinton at the psychological moment.
At the psychological moment.
Who was that? Masran.
Who is that?
That's Masran. But here we have a cultural figure too. Good singer, good dancer, spiritual.
Oh my God.
Priestess.
You're not talking about me.
It's you, me a chat.
It's you.
Fofe, talk to us about Run Taino Run. What is that? What is it's an event that is coming up very, very soon.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Why, Clinton, it is really just such a blessing. This is just a wonderful opportunity for Jamaica to take place in this ongoing conversation about Taino. When I say Jamaica to take place, I mean Jamaica people at a certain level, Jamaica people at the everyday level of life, Jamaica people who quarreling about this, that, and the other, and Jamaican people who we need to broaden our understanding of our own indigenous people, the Taino people, and to see that they had practices and ways of life that could be helpful to us.
Yes.
And perspectives on life that would prescribe some things and prescribe in some things and prescribe out some other things.
Yes.
That would really just lead us to a path of greater harmony and a path of better understanding and a better life for us among ourselves, but also, in terms of our relations with the rest of the world.
Yes.
The Peace and Dignity Journeys initiative that really speaks to the wisdom of ancient people, because ancient people laid this prophecy down a long time ago because they saw what was going to happen. They saw that peoples were going to be divided and separated, and that we were going to lose perspective sometimes, lose our culture, in effect, and that we were going to be treated with disrespect in some areas. And they spoke and said, in order to mend this is going to happen, but in order to mend this, the East, the North had to meet the South. And this is the language of indigenous people. They say until the eagle and the condor come together. And these are representatives, the eagle and the condor are representatives of the North and the South. Until the North and the South comes together, there will not be the kind of prosperity that we're seeking. They said the coming together of these two very powerful directions speaks to healing. It speaks to the return of peace among men. It speaks to the return of dignity and appreciation for the ways of the ancestors and the ways that we're living now. It speaks to our perspectives on family, of community, on life, just everything. It speaks to who we are and who we're not. It speaks to why we're Jamaicans and not called something else. It speaks to everything that we can think of that affects us on a daily basis.
Yes.
And so this since some time ago, since 1992, some elders interpreted that a spiritual run, could be part of the expression of that prophecy and part of what we could do to fulfill that prophecy.
Yes.
Of the North, the eagle, and the South, the condor, coming together. I should tell you that we are peoples of the South, the Caribbean people, in terms of kind of language and how that whole cosmology that makes meaning of their life. So we're people of the South. So the interpretation was that in this run, we could see it as a coming together of indigenous peoples, because on the route, and the Caribbean route, I tell you, the people in Alaska are already running. They start because they have to run for about 6 months. The Caribbean people will start their run. The Caribbean and East Coast people, East Coast United States people, will start their run on July 5th. And they will run for over 5,000 miles, Clinton. It's not a short thing, it's a spiritual thing. It's only a spirit can carry them the distances. Not true?
Yeah.
That's the first mile me done, my body done. Maybe I have to call spirit to run the other 5,000 miles along the east coast of the United States, down through Mexico and a number of those Central American countries into Panama, which we view as the center of the size of the hemisphere. And along the journey, there will be coming together of many indigenous people, groups of people, to talk and to bring up some of the issues that are facing indigenous peoples today. For example, and this is one that relates to us in Jamaica very seriously. How do we relate to land? The indigenous people have very specific perspectives on land. We don't own land. Land is here for us to use, and we should use it prudently with an eye to the future generation being able to use this same land. We should leave it better off than we found it. We're here giving away our lands and trading our lands. Where do we get that authority? It is not consistent with what our elders have taught us. It's not consistent with the practice of our ancestors, who took care of this land so that it could be here now. Granted, we can debate the state it is in, but the fact is, we're not living according to these teachings, which say we care this land. It is simply for use. You can't own it. It is for use. Prudent use. So a lot of issues, and in other countries the situation is actually probably a little worse than in Jamaica, where governments are allowing big companies to go in and mine or somehow, have other kinds of activities on the ancestral lands of many indigenous peoples, with no respect to the fact that, the bones of their ancestors are resting in these places. There's a long conversation, so I chose that one because that one really, in terms of, some of the things that we discussed, because that really pertains to us. But there are many others that also pertain to us and, pertain to other communities. So there will be conversation along the route, stops at various indigenous communities along the way. And then, get to Panama, and there is a big celebration, a 4-day celebration.
Yeah, could you tell me specifically about the Jamaican leg? Because the time now we are running out, almost at the end.
You're at the end of the show?
We are almost at the end, almost. So, the Jamaican leg of it.
The Jamaican, all the Caribbean people will meet in New York.
Yes.
All the Caribbean, from all the Caribbean countries participating. Right. From there, they'll set out along that east coast, passing through a number of various east coast states. They get down to Texas, and from Texas they're crossing over into Central America, so they'll be going through Mexico, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, all the way down to Panama.
Yes.
Then run starts on July 5th, and it will end in November, mid-November.
Okay.
And as I say, for Jamaicans, this run is a really very serious opportunity for us to learn more about our Jamaican Taino people, our perspectives, ways of life, how we related to each other, to the environment, and everything like that. It's for the runners. It's a collective experience, running with the other persons of like minds, other indigenous people. The whole establishment of networks and learning is very important, because they'll have to come back and teach here what they have learned in those various conversations.
Okay.
And it also helps us as Jamaicans in how we see ourselves and how we claim identity. And that to me is, really very, very important. We grew up with a certain understanding about the Taino people, once called Arawak. And, it is very important that we get the right picture, the true picture of who we really are.
Right.
And when we talk about out of many, what we mean by it.
We're going to have to...
And who we classify as in,
okay. All right. We are out of time, but we have to talk again. We have to continue this conversation.
We have to have you at the top of the program, ma'am.
Because it's important. I actually went to Wattown and saw a Taino lady down there.
Yes.
And there are many Jamaicans with Taino blood, including myself.
Yes, definitely.
And
thank you for making that statement.
Yes, and we are glad that you're doing what you're doing. So we'll continue this conversation. Thanks much.
Yes. Well, I really thank you and for the respect for what we're doing. And may the ancestors bless you.
Thank you.
We'll definitely be having you back, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I'll be happy to come back.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.